Okay, Einstein's Credo. Albert Einstein, 1930. At the end of August 1932, Einstein wrote, My Credo, Credo. Credo means belief or a set of beliefs or a faith. So Einstein wrote an article with the name entitled My Credo in Caput, Caputh, the name of a place. The original text was written in German. At the beginning of September, he read it for a recording by order and to the benefit of the German League of Human Rights. My Credo, its translated version is like this. Einstein says, It is a special blessing to belong among those who can and may devote their best energies to the contemplation and exploration of objective and timeless things. How happy and grateful I am for having been granted this blessing, which bestows upon one a large measure of independence from one's personal fate and from the attitude of one's contemporaries. Yet this independence must not inure us to the awareness of the duties that constantly bind us to the past, present, and future of humankind at large. So it's a special blessing to belong among those who can and may devote their best energies to the contemplation and exploration of objective and timeless things. And in spite of that, one should not be inured. One should be always aware and conscious. So that is just an interpretation, my interpretation. Now let's look at the second paragraph. He says, Einstein says, Our situation on this earth seems strange. Every one of us appears here involuntarily and uninvited for a short stay, without knowing the why and the wherefore. In our daily lives, we feel only that man is here for the sake of others, for those whom we love, and for many other beings whose fate is connected with our own. I am often troubled by the thought that my life is based to such a large extent on the work of my fellow human beings, and I am aware of my great indebtedness to them. So Einstein is talking about a sense of gratitude here. Ingratitude, as you know, is the worst of all vices. In the Ramayana, Lakshmana chides Sugriva with the statement, Kritagne nasti nishkriti. Kritagne nasti nishkriti. That means there is no atonement for ingratitude. For all other sins, there can be an atonement. But ingratitude is the worst of all sins. That is why Lakshman says, Kritagne nasti na asti nishkriti. Okay, now look at say Einstein's third paragraph. I do not believe in free will. Schopenhauer's words, man can do what he wants, but he cannot will what he wills, accompany me in all situations throughout my life and reconcile me with the actions of others, even if they are rather painful to me. This awareness of the lack of free will keeps me from taking myself and my fellow men too seriously as acting and deciding individuals and from losing my temper. So he doesn't believe in free will. He says we can do what we want, like Schopenhauer said. Man can do what he wants, but he cannot will what he wills. Well, he was a determinist. Einstein was a determinist. That means everything was predetermined. Now let's look at the next one. In the next paragraph, Einstein says, I have never coveted affluence and luxury and even despised them a good deal. My passion for social justice has often brought me into conflict with people, as has my aversion to any obligation and dependence I did not regard as absolutely necessary. I have a high regard for the individual and an insuperable distaste for violence and fanaticism. All these motives have made me a passionate pacifist and an anti militarist. I am against any chauvinism, even in the guise of mere patriotism. Privileges based on position and property have always seemed to me unjust and pernicious, as does any exaggerated personality cult. Now, please listen carefully. He is saying a lot here. He is referring to many religions which are basically nothing short of personality cults. Privileges based on position and property have always seem to me unjust and pernicious, as does any exaggerated personality cult. I am an adherent of the ideal of democracy, although I know well the weaknesses of the democratic form of government. Social equality and economic protection of the individual have always seemed to me the important communal aims of the state. Although I am a typical loner in daily life, my consciousness of being to the invisible community of those who strive for truth, beauty, and justice keeps me from feeling isolated. It's an awesome statement. I'm repeating it again. Although I'm a typical loner in daily life, my consciousness of belonging to the invisible community of those who strive for truth, beauty, and justice keeps me from being isolated. The most beautiful and deepest experience a man can have is the sense of the mysterious. The most beautiful and deepest experience a man can have is the sense of the mysterious. It is the underlying principle of religion as well as of all serious endeavor in art and science. He who never had this experience seems to me, if not dead, then at least blind. So, the sense of the mysterious is the most beautiful and most deepest experience a man can have, and it is the underlying principle in religion as well as science and art. So, one must retain that sense of mysterious. Well, then Einstein goes on to say, to sense that behind anything that can be experienced, there is something that our minds cannot grasp. Wow. To sense that behind anything that can be experienced, there is something that our minds cannot grasp, whose beauty and sublimity reaches us only indirectly. This is religiousness. A wonderful definition of religiousness. It reminds me of the Vedic dictum. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha is when the mind and the senses, having realized that they cannot attain that state, return. So that is beyond that state. That means the mind is incapable of grasping. It requires the grace of God, or it requires intuition, not rational thinking. So, behind anything that can be experienced, there is something that our minds cannot grasp, whose beauty and sublimity reaches us only indirectly. This is religiousness. In this sense, I am religious. To me, it suffices to wonder at these secrets and to attempt humbly to grasp with my mind a mere image of the lofty structure of all there is. Signed, Albert Einstein.